My sister got an abortion and I can't see her the same anymore. Hey everyone, I'm using my throwaway account for this because my main has a lot of personal information. So around 2 weeks ago, my sister got an abortion and I can't see her the same anymore. A while before that, her and I were at the dinner table with our parents and she started crying. She'd been kind of depressed the last few weeks, but hadn't talked about it until now. She said that a while back she had been at a house party with some of her friends and was sexually assaulted by a group of boys. She didn't go into too much detail, but she said that a while after that, she started to feel sick, so she took a pregnancy test and it came back positive. She started sobbing and saying that she wanted to get an abortion, saying that she doesn't want to give birth and that she's been having nightmares about it. Our parents suggested taking her to a therapist or pursuing legal action, but they both refused to let her kill a child, which I agree with. My parents kept trying to discuss things what to do next, but my sister wouldn't listen. She just kept sobbing. For the next few days, my sister really isolated herself. Every conversation she had with our parents eventually devolved into them trying to convince her to see a therapist while she begged, literally on her knees sometimes, for them to let her get an abortion. I tried talking to her and explaining that maybe the child is a blessing and that something good could come from all this. That just made her even more upset. She told me that she would rather kill herself than give birth to her rapist child. She said that it's unfair that she's only 16 and that she doesn't understand why this is happening to her. A few days later, she came to my parents and told them that she got an abortion. Apparently, one of her friends had driven her to a place where she could kill the child. Our parents were furious and yelled at her for what she did. She begged them to forgive her and said that it was her only choice, which is ridiculous. Our parents literally tried to give her other options, but she still chose to kill a child. Our parents barely speak to her anymore, and I can tell it's making her severely depressed. She's always been skinny, but now she barely eats anything, only leaves her room for school, and her grades are steadily dropping. She says she just wants her mom and dad back, wants them to understand why she did it. I've tried my best to comfort her, but every time I look at her, I just think about how she murdered a child. What do I do? I want my sister back, but I just can't see her the same way anymore. I know she's been through a lot, but is that really an excuse? Update, hello everyone. I'm the one that made that post a few hours ago about how my sister got an abortion after being sexually assaulted by a group of boys at a house party. I received a lot of comments and messages. Some of them were thoughtful, kind, and helpful. Most of them were from this subreddit, but a lot of the responses I got on her pro-life told me that my sister is a liar, whore, child murderer, that this is all her fault, and that my parents and I would be justified in never speaking to her again. But when I look at my sister, I don't see any of these things. I see a scared 16-year-old girl. I see the girl who helped me get over my stutter. I see the girl who protected me from being bullied for so many years. I see the girl who always convinced me that I was good enough. I see the girl who needs my help right now. I've spent a lot of the day talking with people on Reddit chats and in comments about how to help her. And despite all the horrible things I've heard said about my sister today, there were some nice things as well. I spent a good chunk of the evening talking with her, and we both ended up crying about what happened. She gave me more details about what happened to her at the house party, details I won't share here. But what I will say is I wouldn't wish what she went through on anyone, not even my worst enemy. I tried talking to our parents some more, but they wouldn't listen to me. In their mind, what my sister did overshadows what happened to her. The more I think about it, the more I realize they failed her when she first told them about what happened. They never comforted her, they just coldly gave her the option between therapy or legal action. And I think that was wrong of them. I feel like I failed my duty as a brother by being so quick to label her a monster like our parents have. And I'm trying to do everything in my power to make that up to her. As for how I feel about her abortion, I don't know. I still don't think it was right, but I understand why she did it. I understand why she felt she didn't have any other options. Am I the a-hole for resenting my BF over my abortion? I'm here to spill my little dirty secret since I can't talk to anyone about it and it slowly takes a toll on me. I, F25, and my BF, M29, always agreed that if I became pregnant, we would terminate it, mostly for financial issues and not being ready. Last summer, we got drunk and I wasn't careful. I knew immediately we screwed up, but I hoped nothing happened. A few weeks later, I waited for my period to start. While I was sitting at home, I had sudden panic attacks and felt sick. I knew something was wrong. The test was immediately positive. There was no discussion in getting a child, so I started to organize everything. This was mentally and physically hard. I always felt sick, vomited, and had to take on the appointments and do everything with the insurance. Due to me studying, I needed them to cover the costs. It took longer than planned. Soon the date was set and everything was over. I know there is no point in this, and it was the right decision, but I still wish he would be more supportive. Something like, no matter how you feel or what will be, you are secure and I'm going to help you. It was not even worth a discussion, just a note. We never talked about it again. Overall, he seems very insensitive about it. During the time I vomited after eating certain foods, he does not get that I feel sick smelling enjoying them to this day. He wants to eat it, so we should. I'm dramatic over this. My resentment grew more as we could never agree about contraception. He always put it on me. He insists that he hates condoms and won't use them. I've had a long history with hormonal contraceptives. The side effects were unbearable. I tracked my cycle and we avoided having sexy time during dangerous days. It worked for 5 years up until the drunk night. Now he insists that I take a birth control pill. I insist to use condoms. Both refuse and we were not intimate ever since. He's not initiating often, but I turned down every attempt. Now I'm sitting here and building resentment on him. Maybe I'm unfairly distant. I tried to talk about it, but he shuts it down. I know there is no point in discussing this and it needs two to tango, but I feel emotionally alone with this. Am I the a-hole for changing my mind, lying to my boyfriend, and having an abortion? At the end of last year, my 21F boyfriend's 26M dad passed away and my boyfriend was devastated. A few months later, I found out I was pregnant. I didn't think I was ready to have a child, so I decided to have an abortion. I made the mistake of telling my boyfriend about the pregnancy because I thought he deserved to know, and he flipped out. He told me I couldn't have an abortion and that this baby was a gift from God to make up for his dad's death or something like that. I told him no, I was having an abortion. He then went and told my mom because he knew she'd back him up about having the baby. Once she found out I was pregnant and going to abort, I was basically the devil in her eyes. We got into a massive argument and she told me that I was no longer welcome in her house as long as I was planning to get rid of her grandchild. So she kicked me out. I didn't have anywhere to go, so I had to move in with my boyfriend. Once we were living together, every conversation we had was about the baby. Eventually, I changed my mind about the abortion because I thought he deserved something good after the death of his dad, and I really love him and know he wants to have kids. A few weeks passed, we started telling family about the pregnancy, but eventually I started panicking about giving birth, and I realized I regretted my choice. So I booked in to get the abortion and had it done when my boyfriend was at work. I then had to move into my car because I didn't want to live with him anymore, and my mom wouldn't let me come home. For a while, my BF would call me daily and beg me change my mind and to get pregnant again so I could have a baby. Then he got his mom involved, and she started calling me, telling me she hasn't been happy since her husband had died and that becoming a grandmother would make her happy. Eventually, my dad found out about that I was homeless. He thought I had decided to move out of his house as opposed to being kicked out. He also hadn't known about the abortion and thought I was still at the BF's house. So he let me move back in and told my mom that if she didn't like me living with her, then she could be the one to move out. Now I'm back at my parents' house, and every day my mom brings up the abortion, and she keeps inviting my boyfriend over so he can tell me about how depressed I've made him. My door has a lock, so I just lock myself in my room and only ever leave when my mom is at work. It's been a few weeks, and everyone in my life, except my dad, has me convinced I am a terrible person. My mom hates me, my boyfriend says I ruined his life, and friends of ours have told me I should have just had the baby because he's grieving and in a bad place and really wants to be a dad. I cry all the time because I'm so upset about everything, and I keep thinking that I should just move back in with him and get pregnant again just to make everyone happy. Mostly though, I just have to know for sure if I am an asshole or not. Edit. Wow, this got way more comments than I thought it would. I'm in Australia, not sure if that's evident because of the spelling of mum, so I posted this and then went to bed and came back to way more comments than I thought I would. A couple of details to clear up some misconceptions I'm seeing in the comments. First, I was on birth control, okay? Let me live SMH. Secondly, I didn't deceive my boyfriend and lie to him immediately. There was a genuine period of a couple of weeks where I also wanted this baby. But we got an ultrasound and started talking about names, and it became too real, and I panicked. I know I should have told him that I wanted to get an abortion, but truthfully, I was scared he and my mom would just keep trying to manipulate me into keeping the baby. So I had to go behind his back. I do feel incredibly guilty about it, but I was scared and didn't know what else to do. Thirdly, for all you people who keep talking about cutting my mom off because she's abusive, thanks. I'm aware, however, if I cut her off, my dad and brothers and entire extended family would also stop talking to me, and I don't think I'm ready to lose so many people I care about.